Peace and prosperity be unto all who's listening and watching. It's your girl, Shaeranea, and I'm back with another video. And today, I want to talk to you guys about the follow-up to problem solving. Because yesterday, I talked about problem solving, and today, we're going to talk about the steps that it's going to take to solve your problems, right? So, the big thing about solving things, you want to be somebody who's solution driven. You want to be somebody who is able to help other people, but not only help other people, help yourself. That's the most empowering thing that you can do in this lifetime, is have the ability to help yourself, but help other people as well. And the best way to start solving problems is learning how to identify when there is a problem. And how would you know? How would you know that something or someone or something happening in your life is a specific problem? How would you know? Because it affects you. You either don't agree with it or it didn't turn out the way you expect. Now, sometimes some things that don't turn out the way you expect aren't necessary problems. There's some things in life that we cannot control. But the things that we can, we must do our best to give ourselves the greatest and the most best outcome ever. So the first thing that you have to do is identify what it is that you need to work on. So what is the problem? What is the problem that needs to be rooted out? What is something that you need to be fixing right now that you're either struggling with, or it's something that you've been dealing with for such a long time, or it's something that you're addicted to or obsessed with, or it's something that is affecting you, your character, your integrity, and it's keeping you from growth. This something is either hindering you or preventing you from greatness. And when it comes to problems, you want to be very swift at solving them. You want to be very wise in decisions, and you want to make sure that even if you make wise decisions, you have to understand that at times the outcome of some things may not always be what you expect. So if you always expect the ultimate reality, think about the whole bigger picture. If you look at the bigger picture, sometimes reality is best accepted when you take it as it is and not what you think it should be. And that's the best way to take life. We always think about how things should be. We always think up in our minds how we would have went about a situation. But sometimes those things don't go that way. And ultimately, we'll think in our heads a different reality. But if you accept the reality of things and how they go in life as they are, realistically, logically, and just how it is, if you accept it how it is, then you won't have any problem solving the problem, right? You'll have a solution. You will take the work. You will do the work. You will make an effort to do the work and root out the problem. So the first one is identifying what it is that you need to work on. Number two is you need to identify how it is affecting you. So how is the specific something affecting you? Like, you have to not only know what it is, you have to know how it's not good for you. Like working out. We all know that everyone dreads working out. Everybody complains about working out, but working out gives you the best results. If you stay committed and consistent with it and you find a routine that is aligning to who you are, then you'll love it. And you'll get the greatest result and you'll feel really good about it. Good things usually feel bad when you're doing them. And sometimes doing bad feels good. The lower self will make you feel like something like drinking, like obsessively drinking alcohol to escape the reality of life is helpful. And it's not. It's damaging your livers. It's affecting your health. Though you may enjoy it for a time, it is not vital to do, nor is it beneficial for your health. It will hinder you and it will even shorten your life if you don't learn to use these things valuably. It's good to enjoy alcohol, But people must understand that there are some things in our life that will shorten our lives, even if we don't intend to. Now, I get people say, well, it's my money and I enjoy it. And, but people who care about you would say, hey, this is not what you want to do. People who really genuinely care what you would be honest about it. But that's the point. See how working out is really good for you, but it doesn't really feel good. And see how drinking alcohol obsessively can feel good to some people, because in a lower state, it really does feel good. And it ultimately damages your body in the long term. So, two different things. One thing is good. The other one, I wouldn't say is necessarily bad, but the way people use it is very bad for their health. So, number two is just identifying how it's affecting you, whether it's in a good way or a bad way. Because if you're feeding your lower self, it's going to be good. It's going to feel good. But that feeling is only temporary. We can't chase out the feelings, okay? Because feeling is only short term. You're investing in your future. You want to be better. So after you acknowledge what it is, you have to acknowledge how it's affecting you. 3, you have to figure out how can you, as an individual, remove this out your life. What steps can you take to slowly loosen your habits or cut off from this thing that is hindering you from expanding in all aspects? Because ultimately, things that we decide to do hinder us from growing and expanding. We want to be the best of who we are. So if we're doing things that are limiting us and stopping our growth, then we have to be wise in making a decision to stop those things. Now, after you figure out what it is that you need to do as a person, because everybody's different, and everybody who experience different things have to go through different process for themselves individually. What one person can do sometimes isn't always what everyone else can do. Now, you have to figure out what works for you. So if cutting back on something is the best way you can do it, okay, shorten yourself. If you smoke a whole pack of cigarettes in a week, then shorten your packs. If you smoke a pack every day, cut back to 1 and smoke one, like 1 every day or 2 a day. Figure out what works for you. I'm not saying cut your legs, but I'm saying figure it out step by step. Don't put too much on yourself starting out, because change really takes time and it really is a process and nothing happens overnight. So do not stress your lower self to do something full force. It's like a child. You teach a child slowly how to do something and let them slowly adapt to it. That is your lower self. You want to take little bit of precaution to make sure that you give your lower self baby steps into quitting something. But you don't want to do it full force, because if you do, you may collapse. It may just go in full throttle. It may just turn out and do like more and more. You might put more on yourself than you are willing, and it may backfire, because the human nature has this thing where it self-destructs sometimes, and sometimes you want to be mindful of what things may do to affect you and your health, right? So after you've done those 4 things and you figure out a solution of how you may proceed to go through the process of quitting or stopping doing something that is hindering you and solving a problem in your life. Once you figure that out, you set a date, set some time, okay? How long is it going to take you to achieve this? How long do you think you plan to do this? Is it like 2 months, 3 months? And when you start, write it down. Be committed to quitting or stopping or cutting off certain people. Be committed to this, okay? Because if it's a problem in your life, then it's not healthy and it's not helping you. So don't be sad about having to cut things out, stop from doing things, and letting things go. This is appropriate for where you're headed. And if you want to have a successful, healthy, happier life, then you have to do these things that are necessary. So this is vital to your well-being and your future. If you want an abundant, prosperous future, I suggest you do these things. So these are the steps to solving problems. And the ultimate, the very last thing after you've written down the day that you start and how long you plan to take to do this, because it really depends on what it is. Some things really do take a long time to overcome. And if you're somebody like me who can easily quit a habit once acknowledging that I need to change right away by putting another habit on top of an old habit, the best way to fix anything is just find something better to replace what is bad and remove it. So like if I realize that I'm saying the inappropriate word like can't, or like my vocabulary or anything, I simply replace what has been said wrong and place what is rightly said over top of that, so that I'm not constantly making the same mistakes. And that's the easy way to break a habit, by replacing one habit with a better habit and not necessarily sticking to old roots. And that's a good way to break a cycle too. So you want to be mindful of that. But make sure you dialogue right out in your journey, okay? Because you need to be acknowledge of these things, okay? You need to be aware of what it's going to take, and it's really going to take some time. You got to give yourself credit for what you can do, and don't shame yourself for what you have not done yet. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. And also, when it comes to problems in life, you just have to remember that there's always a solution. No matter how hard it may seem, we will always find something to result to better. Now guys, I have amazing things that I'm working on, and I hope you stick to this channel. I hope this inspires you and helps you in any way possible. Stay watching my content, and I have more to come. Love you all.